Hi, I'm Robert Duke. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be making some shepherd's pie. Hope you enjoy it. If you like what you see, please subscribe to my channel and we'll get started here right away. So we'll start off with 2 pounds of ground beef, pre-oiled casserole, about 28 ounces of sliced or stewed tomatoes, 10 ounces of sliced mushrooms, 1 clove of garlic minced, some peas, 1 cup of onions, assorted spices, 4 teaspoons of beef bouillon granules, half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of dried thyme, and half a teaspoon of freshly ground pepper, or just pepper. Now I've got 6 potatoes here. That's basically 1 potato per serving. And I'm just peeling those right now. I'm going to be making some mashed potatoes to put on top of our casserole. So first of all, we'll peel them, dice them up, throw them in the pot. So there, the potatoes are all cut. Now I'm just going to wash them off in the pot here, rinse them out, refill it again with cold water and put them on to boil so we can have those boiling while we're cooking the casserole. So just adding some salt to the water so that we have some flavor in the potatoes as they cook. We'll put that on high, medium high, get that boiling and ready to go. Cover it up so it'll heat up a little bit faster. So here's our ground beef. Put that in the frying pan, turn the heat to medium high, and we'll start browning that meat. Yum, yum, yum. While we're browning the meat, we'll preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. I always check the oven just to see if there's anything in there, so just a little quirk of mine. Don't want any kind of pots heating up. And then once the meat is browned, probably in about 10 minutes or so, we'll remove that with a slotted spoon and keep any fat and drippings on the bottom of the pan so that we can saute some of our other ingredients like the mushrooms, onions, and garlic. So first we'll put in the mushrooms. Notice there's a little bit of water in there, so you're going to get some spatter. And then just turn that down to about medium high. Saute those for about 5 to 6 minutes before adding the onions. And then just add the onions and cook those for another few minutes till they're soft, so they're translucent. And then when you add the garlic, which will be coming up shortly, put that in for the last minute or so because it does have a tendency to burn, and then it'll make everything taste pretty bitter. And again, as I'm cooking it, I'll add a little bit more salt and pepper just to give it another little depth of flavor. So salt and pepper the mushrooms and onions. It also helps sweat out some of the water from the onions, help cook them a little bit faster too. And then, like I said, the garlic will be coming up last. Like I said, you don't want to burn that and make everything bitter. So that only takes about a minute or so to cook. now that the onions, mushrooms, and garlic is cooked, I put in the other spices and ingredients, the peas, the bouillon granules, salt, pepper, and thyme. Reintroduce the beef again, and we'll just sort of stir and mix that up so everything's mixed well. Then I'll be putting in a tablespoon or maybe up to 2 tablespoons of white flour shortly. That's just to help thicken, make a sort of a sauce or a roux in there, thicken up the sauce a bit so it's not all mushy when you make the casserole. So just cook that for a couple of minutes, get that floury taste out. And then once you mix that up really well, we'll put in the rest of the ingredients, which will be the tomatoes. Pour those in there. Chop up any big bits with your little wooden spoon there. And then 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. That's sort of the key ingredient. Oh yes, and a bay leaf, which I forgot to mention earlier. Don't forget the bay leaf and the red wine vinegar. That's what really gives it that sort of a special taste that makes it really good. So we'll mix that all up again. And once that's been cooking for 3 or 4 minutes or so, you can remove the bay leaf. There we go, because nobody wants to eat that baby. And then it's ready to be put into the casserole dish, waiting for the mashed potatoes. So now I'm just going to check on the potatoes to see if they're ready. They look like they're ready. They're sort of flaking to the touch of a fork or my finger. So just stir them up, make sure they don't stick on the bottom of the pot. Then I'll put the lid back on, pour the water off them. And then I'll put it back on the burner, probably on medium, low medium. Then I'm putting the top on, getting ready to drain it. Unfortunately, you don't see me draining it, but that's okay. Anyways, we put it back on the burner afterwards so that we can dry out the potatoes a bit. They're pretty moist and we want them to be a little bit dry so they can absorb all the flavors of the sour cream and butter we'll be putting in shortly. So here we have a 1/4 stick of butter, which I've melted down in the microwave, about 1 minute on high. And pour that over top of the potatoes. Butter just makes everything better, what can you say? And I've also got some sour cream that I'll be adding, just sort of one big heaping, I don't know, tablespoon, soup spoon, whatever, just to give it some texture and a little bit of tang. Add some more salt and pepper to this. Not that much more salt, but more pepper. Got probably enough salt from the salt water already. So then we get out the big masher and mash them up. There, those are all done. Now we'll just spoon them on top of the meat mix. Nice and even. Spread it all out, cover all the top. And then once that's done, we'll be popping it in the oven, say a 400-degree oven, for about 15 minutes or so. So there you have some shepherd's pie. About 6 potatoes peeled and mashed, and 2 pounds or 1.5 pounds of ground beef, and all those other ingredients we mentioned earlier. So we put it in the oven at 400 degrees for about 15 minutes, give or take. You'll know it's done when it gets all nice and bubbly around the edges here. Not so bubbly right now because it's out of the oven, but that's what she should look like. Thing of beauty. So enjoy, and thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.